Hello! Today I'm bringing you my February wrap-up because it's March now already. So yeah, this month I read quite a lot of books. I think I read 10 books, but one of those was a huge bind-up of 3 books and one of them was a collection of short stories. So I'm saying I read 11 books and 1 collection of short stories. So let's just get started with the first book I read this month, which was The Rook Trilogy by Paul Stewart and Chris Riddell. This is the continuation of the Edge Chronicles, and as you can see, this is a big book. In fact, it has 1,100 pages, and it did take me a while to get through, but this selection of books is definitely my favourite out of the Edge Chronicles. I really enjoyed this one. I don't know, I couldn't tell you why exactly, but I did really enjoy it. Especially the first one, The Last of the Sky Pirates, which one was really good. Vox in the middle was probably my least favourite, and Free Glader was amazing as well. They are such fun reads, this one was, and they all have been, and yeah, that's what I read first in the month of February. Then I moved on to the Quint Trilogy, which is the prequel to the Twig Trilogy, which is the middle series in between the Rook Trilogy and the Quint Trilogy. Okay, so we have Curse of the Gloamgloser, The Winter Nights, and The Clash of the Sky Galleons, all by Paul Stewart and Chris Riddell, I don't know. But The Curse of the Gloamgloser deals with Quint moving to Sanctifrax, really, and the Gloamgloser's interference, we'll go with that. And I must say, I did really enjoy this one. This one had a much more mystery element in comparison to the others, and I just thought that was really good. It made a really interesting read. It made you really want to pay attention to it, and it had some really sad moments as well, and it was the beginning of one of my favourite character interactions, which is between Maris and Quint, and I just loved how that kind of blossomed throughout the 3 books. The Winter Nights was also amazing. This one had less Maris-Quint interaction, which made me sad, but there was still interaction, especially in the end, and they were really cute together. And this one was much more like training montage feel, and it was still really enjoyable, and the ending had a really cool voyage that made it all much better, and it was really cool. So yeah, that one I really did enjoy as well. And then out of the 3, my least favourite was The Clash of the Sky Galleons, because literally the climax is about that long. It was just a lot of work to get to not much, but the characters were still really fun. Quint and Maris, you know, were adorable as always in this book. And this one deals with them trying to get the person who killed Quint's family. Quint and his dad's family, like all of his brothers and sisters and his mum, they were killed in a fire. And this is them hunting down the person that set the fire. And it was really fun to read like that. It was very kind of mystery feel as well, but it was a really big scale mystery. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. That's that one. Then I moved on to the collection of short stories, which was the first book I finished during the hashtag Project TBR readathon, because I started this on the day before the readathon started, and then I read on the Monday. I finished this one, which was the Lost Bark Scrolls, which is a selection of short stories made up of Cloud Wolf, Stone Pilot, The Slaughterer's Quest, and The Blooding of Rufus Philistine. And I must say I did really enjoy them. I did especially enjoy The Slaughterer's Quest. Actually no, the one I didn't enjoy probably the most was Cloud Wolf, but I enjoyed the rest. Cloud Wolf, I can't actually remember what it's about. That's how kind of forgettable it was. But the other 3 were amazing. The Stone Pilot was really touching, because you saw Malgin through the years and how she ended up where she ended up, which was really sad, especially what you discover in the next book. The Slaughterer's Quest was kind of an in-between the Rook Trilogy and the Twig Trilogy, so that was really good as well to see the in-between. The main character in that was Keris. She is Twig's daughter, and that was really cool. That was just a really cool one. The Blooding of Rufus Philistine sets up the Immortals like perfectly, and it was absolutely amazing. And it had action, fast-paced, it was amazing. That one was good. So I didn't tell you the star ratings for any of them so far, but basically every single one has got 4 stars in my eyes. And this one was probably the only one that didn't get 4 stars. This one got 3 stars because short stories are not my cup of tea, really. So 3.5 stars, 3 stars, but still really enjoyed it, but short stories just aren't for me. The last book I read in the Edge Chronicles was The Immortals, which was amazing, especially the last third. Like, a lot of stuff happened here that was a bit slow, but the last bit was absolutely amazing. And it was just such a twist, and it really drew together everything that had happened so far so well. It was such a nice conclusion. I'm kind of sad they continued the series because this had such a perfect ending. That's like as extreme as it got. Nate in this book was a great lead. He was really fun and engaging. His relationship with Eudoxia was amazing as well. I loved that. I love a good relationship, and they really blossomed together. The ending makes that a little bit sadder, but the twist at the end, and if you've read this book you know what the twist at the end is, what happens, and it was just amazing, that twist. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see that happening, and then when you get to the final bit and there's a hint that goes back to the Quint trilogy, and I was like, oh my god, no, no, no. That was literally my reaction. I was in absolute shock. So, yes, The Immortals was amazing. I gave this one 4 stars, but this is probably leaning more towards a 4.25, 4.5 stars mark, just because that ending was just so good, in my opinion. And this had some... Wait, I need to find it. Page 440 something, I think I said it was, in my head. Yeah, it has one of my favourite illustrations, which is a really cruel picture. I just thought it was really weird that they included it, but it made me laugh. Well, it shouldn't have, because this is like someone getting their eyes skewered, but... Yeah! The Immortals by Paul Stewart and Chris Rydell, the highest ranked in the Edge Chronicles. But I love them all. It's not my favourite. The Rook trilogy is still my favourite, though. Despite this being, like, the individually highest ranked. Because probably the same rank that Free Glader and Last of the Sky Pirates got. So they got that kind of rank as well. But, yeah. Then after that, for the Ender Project TBR Readathon, that took me 4 days to read. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I was reading the Edge Chronicles. Saturday, I may or may not have had a sleepover, so I didn't read anything. And when I got back on the Sunday, I picked up Monument 14 by Emmy Laybourne, which I said I'd pick up, and oh my god, this was phenomenal. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. I read it in one sitting. There was just something really engaging about it. It kept you on the edge. You didn't quite know how this was going to resolve itself. But, oh my god, I just couldn't deal with it. It was traumatising. The characters in it were so fun. Dean was a great narrator. I really enjoyed his character. The other characters, they were all lovable, but they had flaws, and they were realistic in that way, I feel. The flaws were things you'd expect them to have. And it was just great how each one dealt with it. And then you had some really cool characters like Josie and Nico and everyone else, like Astrid, Batiste. Oh my god, it was just so... Ulysses, oh, they were so cute. It was just so heartbreaking. The ending of this book was absolutely traumatising. If you don't know what Monument 14 is about, it is about a group of kids that get stuck in a mall. That's the word. Stuck in a mall as the world is going to shit around them. And literally, it is amazing. It's like, if you want to get stuck somewhere at the end of the world, I would get stuck in a mall, honestly. Because they made it work for this whole book. Until certain things happen at the end, and it escalates, and it was just amazing. Yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's my favourite kind of apocalyptic dystopian kind of book, maybe now. It's slightly edged out the Hunger Games for me in this one. I don't know, like, some of the romance was a bit meh, but I still really shipped it anyway. Like, I didn't care if it was a little bit rushed, I still shipped it. So yes, after Monument 14 I had to pick up Sky on Fire and Savage Drift, which is the continuation of the Monument 14 trilogy, and these introduce dual perspectives. And I'm not gonna lie, if you're gonna do dual perspectives, you need to do it like Emmy Laybourne did it, because she did it amazingly. I could always tell who I was reading from, the voices were so different. This one you share perspectives with Dean and Alex, his brother, as they've gone separate ways. Little spoiler at the end there. for the end of Monument 14, but it was phenomenal. This one was possibly my favourite, honestly, because it just developed the relationships between the characters so well and put them in situations which really set up Savage Drift really well. Savage Drift was heartbreaking, in my opinion, because you just saw these characters go through such a lot of pain, and this one had Josie as the co-narrator with Dean, and I didn't enjoy Josie as much as I enjoyed Alex's perspectives, but you could really still tell it was Josie as opposed to, like, Dean. But the two storylines interwove so well, the ending was so satisfying, and it's not very often I like a happy ending, but this one had a happy ending and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed a happy ending. I feel like I needed one. Sometimes a lot of dystopian trilogies leave me a bit cold. It's like, the ending of Maze Runner was not particularly brilliant in my opinion, nor was Allegiant for Divergent. And Mockingjay, on the first read I didn't like it, but after rereading it I did. So yeah, I don't think... Oh, and like Ugly's trilogy, that ending was just... And this just ended so satisfyingly. It tied up all the loose ends properly. And even if it was kind of a fairy tale ending, it didn't, like, rush it. It had an epilogue. That was the happy ending. The epilogue was kind of very staggered in that it wasn't linear. It just kind of jumped slowly forward and you saw a happy ending. And this is the second book to ever make me cry, because the ending just made me cry. I was really emotional that day, apparently. But yes, Savage Drift was amazing. I gave them both 5 out of 5 stars. The whole trilogy got 5 out of 5 stars. It takes place as one of my favourite trilogies of all time with the Kane Chronicles. So, yeah, you should pick this series up if you love a good survival story, or a dystopian story, or an apocalyptic story. Just pick it up. And then after that, I had one more book to read in this month. I picked it up, and don't hate me, but I'm not going to lie, it was very disappointing. And that was The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. I felt this had dual perspectives as well. And coming out of Monument 14, I could not distinguish the characters' voices half the time. I didn't really care about the Ben storyline, so I didn't care at all, actually. So, yeah, I just didn't really get where the story was going for ages. Like, it just felt very flat. Just, it was dragging. Cassie and Evan I thought were much more interesting to read about, despite the fact that Ben had the more action-filled chapters. Cassie and Evan were much more interesting to read about, honestly. They had much more character depth. I didn't feel like a lot of the characters were developed very well. So, this got 3 stars, but that's generous. I am reading The Infinite Sea, but I don't really know if I'm going to finish it, because we'll see. I got through it, but I wasn't particularly impressed. I feel like this gets a lot of hype, and I personally didn't think it deserved that much. I did finish it though, so that says something. This also had a very rushed climax. And yeah, just flat really. But yeah, those are the books I read in the month of February. So that is my February wrap up. I'm probably not going to set a March TBR this month, because the only book I'm definitely going to read is The Infinite Sea, and possibly, if I order it, The Game of Thrones. For the Game of Thrones read-along that is happening. If you didn't know, there's a Game of Thrones read-along happening. So, yeah. I'm not committing to that, but I am going to be ordering some books soon. So, we will see. I will see you soon with another video. Goodbye.